Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the dive jump, where we're going to jump into diving. Mr. Hammer, thank you for joining us from the road. I know it's a very busy day for you, and I'm glad you could join us.
I'm happy to be here.
We're going to talk about something that you really, really like. I think you like this more than scuba diving these days. It's called free diving. So, as the one who actually does free diving between the two of us, why don't you tell us what free diving is?
Freediving is going under the water for as long as you can by holding your breath.
So you basically take one big breath, you go in and you don't come back out, and it's longer and deeper, right? So that's the competition is usually longer and deeper.
You stop your breathing and travel under the water. Now there is a lot of competitions, like you said. There is in the swimming pool competition, static, holding your breath, just sitting down and hold your breath, and somebody with a timer check how long you do that.
So this is
There is
like what we did
dynamic.
when we were kids in the pool, right? Like children in the pool, when you're young children in
Yeah,
the pool, that's what you do. Okay. What happens when you're
and
doing the dynamic one? You go in
dynamic.
and you swim.
You go in and do it, and you do underwater swimming pool, and basically they measure how many feet or meters you did underwater without taking your head out to breathe.
And
So
then,
this is
but then
dynamic
there's
in the.
also going deep, right? So you take one big breath and you go all the way to the bottom and then you come back up.
So in the ocean you go in deep, and in the way that you can
Hey,
go
move your
deep
hand.
is
Well, exactly. We can't see your face when you have your hand like this.
just stretch a little bit. Come on. Uh, Underwater deep dive in free diving, there are many ways to do that. You can go by only the force of your legs, your fin.
Yeah.
You can use monofin, like a dolphin. That both of your legs are in one fin. You can go down by the force of your hands, pulling yourself down on a rope. You can go down with a belt, with a weight. You take a weight, you fall down to the depth without moving, just something pulling you down, and then you can come back by the force of the fins, or you can come back by the force of some kind of buoy that take you back up. This is the deepest people can go, is going down with a weight
Like
and
a
going
big
back
sled,
with
right?
a. Yeah, that way they just doing like almost static. They just need to equalize pressure, but they don't use their muscles. They just relax and going deep and going back. So I don't know the record for now. I'm not really following that, but for example, there are records that are around 60 meters when people going out without fins. They just go swimming, going down. No mask, no fins, no nothing. Just swim down. And the record, the world record is around, I don't know, 60, 70 meters deep. But if you talk about people that going down with, with weight underwater, it's much more than 100 meters. That people
Yeah.
going maybe
So
even 200. I
So,
don't
so
know.
we need to go. We need to talk a little bit about. So there's a lot of these types of disciplines, and I'm not gonna like get into all of them, and I don't really care. I just know that you can go deeper and longer, and I know that holding your breath. I know it sounds weird, but without anything, without any compressed gas, no tanks, no rebreather, no nothing, you can go deep. You can go very deep. In fact, I think that the deepest people go, it's deeper than scuba diving, for sure. And
Yeah, and you're not limited. You can go down again and again. I can go and just have fun at around 20 or 30 meters, between 60 to 90 to 100 feet, and just go down for a minute, for a minute and a half, for 2 minutes,
there's no
travel around.
decompression, and you can just go on a plane afterwards. You can do that in the morning and then dry off, go into the airplane and just go home, right? So and you can be so if you think about it, so if you think about a hour long dive in 20 meters that a scuba diver does, you can go and you can be for 2, 3 minutes at a time. you can be there. But it's 2-3 minutes.
Sometimes I take my computer, my freediving computer, and going into the water for 2 hours. And when the 2 hours finished, I'm going out of the water, and I see that I have been under the water more than 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
I
So it's
was
a big
diving underwater for more than 40 minutes out of the 2 hours that I was relaxing in the water and breathing and relaxing and getting ready to dive again and again. And it's a lot of fun. It's really relaxing, really
it's very
quiet. You
zen,
don't feel
very
bummed.
zen yoga, right? Like very zen yoga for people.
And you see things differently because when you scuba diving, the bubbles are frightening a lot of creatures under the water that run away from you. And sometimes you're going for free diving and you get to the bottom and you have time, and let's say a minute to travel there, and suddenly you see all kind of animals that's coming to you and not running away from you or hiding or
So
and you
so
can
so
see cool things.
you're more like a dolphin than a machine that spews out all of these bubbles that scares everything. So wait, but before we go
Yeah.
to the next topic, which is the what is free diving? Now we get it. You take one big breath and you can do all kinds of wonderful things underwater. Before we get to the next topic, which is kind of like how it relates to scuba diving, you can't talk about free diving in this world without saying the word the big blue.
Uh,
You have to tell everybody that the Big Blue is a movie. It is the movie about free diving. It's about the 1970s or 80s, but it is
yeah.
the big movie about it. So if you're gonna look at free diving, if you want to know the soul of it, which is not true, it's not a documentary or anything like that. There's a lot better documentaries. But if you want to go into the soul of free diving, a lot of people my age, are our age, grew up looking at the Big Blue as the big free diving. Okay, agreed. Okay,
Yes.
so I just you can't talk about free diving without saying that. It's like it has to be there. So the other thing, I I, I mean we're not free divers here. We're scuba divers. So if you're talking about scuba diving, is there a connection between free diving and scuba diving that makes it, I don't know, makes it make sense?
Well, somebody that is a good free diver is probably very good at buoyancy because he's checking his weight very carefully. If he wants to do responsible free diving, he needs to be to be able to measure his right weight on the like on the gram. Because if you do a mistake, if you go underwater with too little weight, it's just more work for you to go down, and basically you will have shorter dives because you will use more of your effort. But if you're going with too much weight, it's going to be hard for you to go up to the surface, and it's really very accurate uh, science. They tell you need to be with weight that in 10 meters deep, 30 feet deep, you are buoyant, you are neutral. If you're going to 15, you think you're heavy underwater.
So
And if
that's number
you're at
one.
8 or 7, going up.
So
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 buoyancy,
that's one. One is the weighting is much better, but it's different weight belt. It's a different suit as well. You don't use the same suit.
I do, but
Okay.
yes, people that are freediving, they like suits that are very flexible, and a lot of them are two parts, and they want to be really hydrodynamic, so it's really slick suit, and it's very sensitive suit. This is why I don't use them because I can rip it very easily. Uh, but people use different suits and different weight belts. You tie yourself with a belt, and they use usually small weight and a lot of them if you need a lot. This is the buoyancy. If you're talking about your air consumption, I'm sure that a free diver that can stop his breathing for a lot of time and knows how to breathe correctly to free himself from nice, איך אומרים? CO2.
Yeah, carbon dioxide, CO2.
So, yes. So if you free your body out of CO2, then you don't feel that you need to breathe a lot.
So wait,
You
wait, wait,
don't.
wait, wait. Let's talk about this for a second. So you are saying that if you are a better free diver, your air consumption is going to change for the better?
Yes, because you will breathe underwater like somebody that is getting himself ready to stop his breathing, and in this way you reach your body
Wait,
with
but
oxygen.
is it like a skill, or is it just like you're physiologically different, or is it like a psychology thing where you're calmer and just generally, happier underwater? Like, does it actually
No,
change your
it's not
physiology?
psychology, physiology because if I will breathe like I'm breathing, like I learn how to breathe to get ready to stop my breathing, I will fill my body with oxygen and lower my body from CO2, and this way I will breathe slower because I'm ready to stop my breathing, so I can definitely breathe slower. I can take one breath every minute, just
So,
very
so
very
is
calmly and
this,
slowly take a breath
so you're
and
saying
very
I
very
can
calmly
go scuba
stop.
diving, I can go scuba diving, and if I'm a free diver and learned the breathing exercises that free divers use, I can go to a 40-minute dive under like at 30 meters, and I will take one breath every 30 seconds for the whole dive.
Is it, I think I do it. I think I do breath that's more than 30 seconds. I
So,
think the time to take me to take one, like fill my lungs and then clear my lungs is probably more than 45 seconds.
so if you're calm and if you are a decent free diver, not, I mean, you've been doing free diving for a lot longer than I have. But if I practice the free diving, skill, it's just a skill, right? You need to learn how to breathe correctly. If you breathe like a free diver, you can actually spend 40 minutes to an hour doing the breathing slowly, and your consumption will go down. It should go down dramatically. Like it should be a very big change.
If you were a new diver, scuba diver, and your buoyancy was so-so, and your breathing was I breathe as much as I want, and then you get the skills of buoyancy,
Yeah.
become much more buoyant, so you don't use your muscles to swim and fight in the water to stay at the depth that you want, and you breathe correctly. That means that you take a lot of air slowly, and you take a lot of air slowly, and it doesn't affect your buoyancy because you buoyant yourself very good. So it's not when I take a big breath I'm starting to float, or when I empty my lungs I start to sink immediately. Because I'm very buoyant, I can breathe like that. It could be very very dramatic. Yeah? Somebody that is
How
new
long
at
how
scuba
long
diving
would it
and get
take you? So how much free diving experience do you need before you see this change? Do you do like the basic course, or do you need to like practice this, a lot? I don't know what a lot
yeah,
is, but
look, the buoyancy of scuba diving is not really connected to the buoyancy of free diving. So you need to work on your buoyancy in scuba diving. You need to work on
so
that. You
buoyancy is
need to
buoyancy.
hover and try not to, yeah, work on buoyancy. That's first. The
Okay.
second thing, if you do once or twice, like breathing exercise, and you can do like a class of stopping your breathing. I once did
So is
the
this
class when I was very young. It was in swimming.
so but can you do the class, like can you do a hold oh, lost you. Lost you for a second, sorry. So
Where did you?
what I was asking is, can you do like a class where you hold your breath at home, like sitting on the sofa, or I don't know,
You got
lying on the floor?
when when I was very young. I did a class in a swimming pool for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. that they taught me how to breathe correctly to get myself ready to stop my breathing. And then they did a table that you can learn, but you don't do that. Even that, don't do it alone. You need to do it with instructor because if you put your
Okay.
face in the water, even in the water, it's dangerous when you start trying to stop your breathing. And then there is a table that you do like usually it's 8 times that you stop your breathing, even for 30 seconds, and then you rest for 3 minutes. Then you make the break time shorter, like stop your breathing again for 30 seconds, then you rest between the stop your breathing for 2.5 minutes.
So
And then in
you're
the last
building
time,
tolerance for
yeah,
CO2, and you're teaching your body how to breathe in and breathe out in a controlled way. You're learning to control your breathing instead of not thinking about it. Like what I'm doing right now is I just breathe in and out when I'm talking to you. But with this, you have to
yeah,
actually think about it. You're looking at a clock and you need a coach for this. So I'm going to say this again.
yeah,
You need a coach. You need to take a proper class, and it's probably not going to change immediately, but if you continue practicing for a little bit, it'll give you a change. But buoyancy control is something you need to work on independently. It's not like there's no magic bullet here. And then the air consumption goes down because of buoyancy control. You are happier in the water in general, and your breathing control is much, much smarter. Like you actually change the way that you control your breathing. Yeah?
I will tell you something very extreme. I will tell you that I'm sure that even if you cannot stop your breathing for 15 seconds, I tell you to stop your breathing, you put your face in order. After 15 seconds, you take your head out, you cannot stop your breathing for more. If you do a class of 1 hour and you learn this breathing skills and this stop your breathing tables to work on that, I'm willing to bet that even the guy that stopped his breathing for 15 seconds before, at the end of this class, will be able to stop his breathing for more than 2 minutes. I guarantee.
So you're saying any person who generally doesn't have asthma is not, sick or anything like that. Just a
Yeah,
person who just doesn't have the
whatever is
skill.
long.
Let's say there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with you. A person with just generally healthy can go from whatever you have right now, can do 2 minutes of holding your breath.
and even and most of you 2.5.
2.5. So I
Most of the people.
remember there used
But
to, I mean, there used to be guys like you who would come down to the 5 meters safety stop when we were doing classes or when we were coming back up from guided dives. They would come down
and say
on the
that they
slope,
you.
sit with us the entire time, and then come up with us as we're coming up.
I once sat down on the missile boat in Elat
Yeah.
at the depth of 20 meters in the 19 meters at the front of it, and I sat there for 3 minutes. Like people going around, and I'm sitting there for 3 minutes at the depth of 20 meters.
And by the way, this is completely normal. I mean, I know this to be normal when you go on like a weekend where there's a lot of divers going out, like especially like a holiday weekend in on that boat, right, which sits, I think the bow, like the front, sits at 18 meters. You will see a group of divers, and then there's a bunch of free divers who come down, and then they kind of do the dive with you, for like 2-3 minutes at a time. You're diving along the boat, and they are right there with you, and they're doing the same dive you're doing, and then they go back up, for like 2 minutes, and then they come back down and they meet you in the stern, like in the back of the boat. And they will do this for like 2.5 hours, whereas you're staying there for like maybe 40 minutes. But it's this is completely normal. I agree with you. This is completely normal. And I think that we talked about this before, and you said that the almost any like generally healthy person can get down to 20 meters. Almost any generally healthy person.
And there are equalizing problems for some people. So Yes, if you don't have any problems to equalize pressure when you do scuba diving, and you
Yeah,
can equalize fast because you cannot take your time. So a lot of people sometimes will start at the beginning of a free diving course of 3 days, and the first day they will go to 8 meters. The second day they will go to 15 meters, and the third day they will go to 20 and maybe more. But I know people that had problems with the ears, and they got only to 3 meters deep, but they got
yeah.
to 3 minutes stopping the breathing. So the
So
depth is not guaranteed,
the
but
depth
the
the
stopping your
depth
breathing.
has to do with the ears, right? The depth, like going down, is how fast you can equalize. Because I know that people who need to will eventually get down to like 20, 25 meters. But who need to like, do the breathing and like blow their nose and like mess with their ears all the way down. That's really hard to do when you're free diving. That's almost impossible. You need to be down in like 15, 20 seconds, right?
Your ears stuck, it's stuck. This is the depth that you're gonna stop in,
Okay.
and probably if you not release it, you will go up from there.
But generally as a beginner, there's really no reason why most people, again, generally healthy, not talking about anyone who has actual problems or something, generally
Your
healthy
ears does
people.
not stuck, you will be able to get at the end of 2.5 days course to 20 meters easily.
Okay, so you think, I mean, it sounds to me like it's a really good idea to take a free diving course in general. If you're going to a scuba diving vacation where there's the ability to do a free diving course, on the first day, instead of going scuba diving, go do a free diving course. I mean, you're going to the same place, you're going to learn a new skill. You're sacrificing one of your days, one of your vacation days, which is not, horrible, but it's
Don't
still look,
sacrifice.
you're in the water, right?
Very important to know that you cannot do free diving after scuba diving, but you need to have a break of 12 hours. So I can go for vacation, that I will go every morning for a free dive, and
Yeah.
after that I will do my scuba dive. And in the next morning I can do free diving again.
Okay, so 12 hours, that means that if I wake up in the morning and I do from 7 to 8 a.m., I only do free diving. I do breath
Yeah,
hold, I go down, I go deep, I go to 10, 15 meters on a wall. Let's say I'm going to a place like Egypt or Eilat or Bonaire where there's a nice wall. I go down, I'm no risk of decompression. I go do regular scuba dives after that, like two tank dive off of a boat for, I don't know, from 8 a.m. until noon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The next morning, I can go free diving again and then do the same
yeah,
thing over and over again. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a wonderful way to go.
And
I
and the
love it.
practice and the practice helps you, the free diving practice helps you become a better scuba diver.
I think so. Yes,
Have you seen a difference in so you've done a lot more of this free diving stuff. So and you've been in free diving classes, you've gone with instructors while they're doing classes. So have you seen someone who came in and started, he was a diver or she was a diver, they came to the course, and after the course, they you saw them in the scuba diving world and they were, I don't know, different, changed, better, I don't know, whatever.
I cannot put my finger on that because I'm not in this field of watching people doing scuba diving as a sports diver because I'm more in commercial diving. But I know that a lot of people that discover the free diving world do less scuba diving and enjoy more free diving, and I'm included. I can go for commercial diving, going with the helmet, going to work, etc., etc. But when I go to a vacation, sometimes I will not do scuba diving. I have the ocean, I have corals, I have beautiful fish, and it
Yeah,
will be
because you
enough
don't
for
like the
me.
whole mess of the gear and the stuff and go in and that. You take your fins, you take your mask, and you go in.
And then you go wherever you want. And if if you want to go really deep and do something extreme, then scuba diving, tech diving, taking a couple of tanks. this is the way to go, of course. But a lot of times for me today, and a lot of people are like me, if you love freediving, you don't really need scuba diving in a vacation, maybe once or twice. You, for example, will go to do 3 or 4 scuba dives a day. And me, I would prefer to go for one scuba dive a day and one free diving a day, and I'm happy with that. For me to go 3 times or 4 times, it's
Yeah,
too
it's
much.
different. It's different. So when I go scuba diving, I usually nowadays I go with someone else, and they are trying, and usually I go with someone who's trying to become a better diver. And so what we do is I need that repetition. I need them to be in the water and out of the water and taking gear off and putting it back on and doing a gear check and doing the whole thing. I need a lot of repetitions. So I need to do boom, 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 4 dives a day. And then they come out, um, they come out with a lot more knowledge. So after a week of diving with me, you have 20 to 25 more dives, depending on how like physically fit you are. You have like 20 more dives, and the people that I work with usually have like a total of 50 dives ever. And so they come out with a lot more experience. Or when we do tech diving, I will do for the shallow tech dives, I will do like 40 meters, 50 meters. I will do two tech dives a day, sometimes three, and we'll do night tech dives. And so they get a lot more out of a trip that you are constantly in and out. For my own
Uh,
vacation,
there's no doubt that if you have 30 dives in your logbook,
yeah,
when you will have 100 dives in your logbook, you will be a better diver. So
yeah.
it's definitely that. But if I'm already an experienced diver, I have a couple of hundreds of dives. Sometimes if I fall in love with free diving,
Yes.
I do less scuba diving, more
So
free diving.
So what we're learning today, and look, I will tell you this. I asked the question, but I do know two people who basically took some time off from scuba diving, went deep into free diving, came back to scuba diving. They didn't really fall in love with the free diving, but they came back to scuba diving and they said that their scuba diving improved 100%. When they came back to scuba diving, their breath control was much better and their air consumption was much better. And the things that they learned from freediving in small ways, they were able to apply them inside of scuba diving. And even I know one guy, we call him the Nani, Rico Nani. I think he's in Roatan. He still dives with he likes his freediving fins, even though I don't think they're that good for scuba diving. He uses those big freediving fins for his regular scuba dives now. And he didn't,
I tried it. I tried it a couple of times. I prefer easygoing fins for scuba diving and
I
long fins for diving when you're very hydrodynamic and you don't have equipment on you and you can fly in the water.
look, I think that those big fins are really good for when you're trying to go forwards, like in one direction, and that's that. I don't think they're
Yeah,
that good when you're actually trying to, like when you're scuba diving and you're not just going in one direction and you want to be more, versatile, you want to be more like a helicopter rather than a jet, then I think that those big fins, look, he likes it. I don't know anyone who likes to scuba dive with monofins, for example. I think that's crazy.
yeah, too much for. It's really hard to stay with monofin a lot of time in the water free diving. So for me, I'm sure there are people that they can do it for a long time, but for scuba diving, I didn't see that going on. There is another field of free diving that is very common and very popular, which is the fishing field. People that are going underwater to hunt
Yeah,
fish
I
for
know.
food.
I think that the lionfish hunting has become very popular in the Caribbean. So if you're like a US East Coast diver, lionfish hunting has become super, super popular in the Caribbean because there's just so many of them and it's very like they're killing, they're an invasive species. And I think a lot of
We had that
free divers,
in the Mediterranean. In the Mediterranean in Israel, it's also a lot of the
they
instructors
made it.
taking a steer.
Yeah.
They need to bring in lionfish because they're causing a lot of problems.
Look, there's places in the Caribbean where, free divers. So think about it. Free diving is there's no tank, there's no gear, I mean, you just bring your fins on the plane with you. You can go into the water, and your spear in the checked bag, which is basically for some of these, the spear is just a rubber band with a big stick, and they will go underwater. They will go diving for an hour, 2 hours a day, like you like to do, like the free diving, come out with 2 or 3 lionfish, and you can go to the restaurant, to like a grill restaurant, and they will do it for you for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's part of the Caribbean, is that if you bring a lionfish, then you have to pay for like the fries and the drinks or whatever, but they will grill the lionfish for you for free. They will clean it and do the whole thing for free. Because look, they're trying to get people to.
Unfortunately, I don't like to eat fish. Doesn't taste it for me, and I
I,
don't really like to kill animals, so it's
I,
not for me.
I think that it's because they're an invasive species, it's okay to kill animals. I think that you're right that a lot of free divers prefer to go, instead of scuba diving for it, they prefer to do free diving for spearfishing, as a sport.
Easy
I never got into it.
yeah, but the fish don't run away from the bubble. If you're underwater, they think that you're a fish when you stop your breathing, and it's easier for you to get closer to them.
Okay. I mean, but I don't enjoy the activity anyways. I'd rather take pictures than like be fishing, honestly. I'd rather do a video. I'd rather be with friends, and more of a social scuba dive, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't think I in general enjoy the whole. I tried spearfishing when I was younger and I never really got into it. It was kind of, okay, so you're spending a lot of time down there and you're trying to like kill a fish. And in the end, if I had a camera, I would actually get some picture. I would get pictures at least. I don't know. Maybe at some point we need to talk to someone who is a spear fisherman and see what they like about this part of the sport.
Well, I used to do that when I was in the diving center in Ashkelon for a year, the year of 2011, and they used to go every night almost to
But
bring fish
why?
for the
What's
restaurant.
the deal? Oh, for the
They had
restaurant.
a restaurant,
Okay.
so they went every night, and I went to meet them. And when I got into it, even though I didn't really voluntarily going to look for this kind of thing, I I love the idea that I can go diving at night from a boat. It was really adventure. And then I saw them doing the hunting, and it was there is something about it. When I did that with them, it felt like going with PlayStation in a hunt. You're 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 ambushing the your prey, and you catch it, and it's a fight, and it's a challenge. Again, I'm not fond of it, and I'm not looking for that, but I see what they like about it. It's
I
really, I
I
felt like I was breathing, I was swimming fast, I was looking around with, I, I used to be in the army, it's the same. I have the rifle in my hand, and I'm running around, I'm looking something to shoot at, and when you hit it or you miss it, there is a thrill about it. I understand. It's just not my
we'll do a
thing.
different thing. We'll do a different thing about spearfishing, but for that we have to get Hanan for that one, because he's really
Oh,
into
I
that
would love
stuff.
to let's get Hanan on this.
You need to invite him. You need to invite him and put him in front of the camera and let's talk to Hanan in general. Just he's such a good guy to talk to. But look,
I have some theories. The things that we did are illegal, so we cannot talk about it.
Well, Galgal, thank you so much today. I know you're driving, and I know that it was a little bit of a difficult day, and I know that you're super busy. But thank you so much for taking the time today. This was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about freediving because I don't really do the freediving like at all. Like that's not my thing. Um, um, and then, so if you have any questions about freediving or things like that, you guys can put them in the comment. We'll try to get them answered. We do know a few really, really good like free divers who are into that. And if you really want to, if you ask us to, I think we can get a couple of them on. I know a couple of free diving instructors who work in Israel, who work in the Caribbean, who work all over the world. Thank you, Galgal. Drive safely.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.